All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of Fresh Finds. This week, we're going to look at what I picked up at the Golf Heritage Society National Convention in Indianapolis. It was part of a 2-week road trip that I took to the Midwest, northern Michigan, Wisconsin, and Indiana. And a lot of golf was played. You're going to see 5 course vlogs from that trip in the near future on the channel, so stay tuned for that. You're going to see more episodes of Hunting for Hickories. That was a new feature that I launched while I was on the trip, and I'll continue to improve on those episodes. I think it's fun to show you the moment of discovery of these clubs, and the feedback that I've gotten from that first video in Michigan so far has been positive. I will slow the camera down. That was one important bit of feedback that I got, that I was moving around too fast. I forgot basically I was wearing a camera, but that's how fast I move through the antique stores so I can get through as much as I can in one day. But I'll definitely slow it down so that I don't make people sick while watching the video. What I want to focus on right before we get into the footage of me walking around the Golf Heritage Society National Convention is some of the pickups that I got that I haven't covered yet in other videos. My wish list right now is pretty short for golf clubs, so I really didn't buy too many clubs at the show. But what I did buy was specifically purposed for gutty sets that I'm building, pre-1900 gutty sets and post-1900 smooth face gutty sets. So I came across a table that I was able to find 3 MacGregor smooth face clubs and a Tom Stewart line face, which is not part of this discussion right now. But the 3 MacGregor smooth faces caught my eye because I thought that one of them might fit a gap that I had in a short set that I'm building. It ended up being that all 3 clubs were too light for what I wanted them to be useful for in the set, but the shafts are great. So again, I've said this many times on the channel, that if you come across a club and the head doesn't work for you, take a look at the shaft, because if the price is right, you may end up getting a really good deal on an authentic vintage shaft that will cost you half the price of what a new, lesser quality new hickory shaft wood. And it's not lesser quality because of who's selling it or anything. It's just the matter of nature that the older the wood, and if it's still in good shape, it's just going to be a sturdier shaft than a new growth hickory shaft would be. My opinion, I think there's probably some science to back it up too. But anyway, this shaft was super straight. This is from a 21-degree cleek. I'm going to be able to use this shaft in pretty much any gutty club I want. That's kind of the case with the other 2 clubs that were part of that $40 batch. So couldn't pass that up. $10 per club basically for really good quality shafts. And then I also picked up this smooth face MacGregor niblick to kind of be the capstone on that short set. One thing about gutty niblicks that I think is interesting is this is the original shaft, I believe, and it's 38 inches in playing length. That's very long for a 47-degree club. But that's kind of what you run into when you're looking at turn of the century or even pre-1900 niblicks. That's just the way they were designed or made. For that reason, though, very heavy head with a long shaft means you're going to have a swing weight that's pretty high. And this one's off the chart. F+ is what I've got on the sticker here. So I think I will cut this down just a little bit to make it more manageable for somebody who wants to use more finesse shots with it. Which I think it'll be useful for it. It'll certainly be useful for getting the ball out of tough lies, but you may actually have enough soul there to work with and do a little young Tom Morris finesse with it if you want. The big thing that I picked up, though, from the GHS show this year was artwork. Leading into the convention, the estate of Willie Gayle, who was a longtime collector in the Dayton, Ohio area, went up for auction. And Gary Wyckoff, who is another longtime Columbus, Ohio area collector, has been in the GHS and GCS before that for 40 plus years. He was the person who was kind of managing the estate of Willie Gayle and helping his wife Susan sell Willie's collection. So the auction happened. It was a live auction on Wednesday. A lot of the pieces that didn't end up selling were still available for purchase into the weekend. So I got the auction sheet when I rolled into town just to kind of see what was still available, and was excited to find some really cool pieces of art that I'm going to put on the walls of my golf museum when I finish renovating that side of the basement. So I wanted to show you those right now because I don't know when I'm going to get that room finished, and I'm pretty excited about these 3 pieces. But the first one that I wanted to point out that you'll see as I'm talking here is a print of an original painting by Lemuel Francis Abbott for the Royal Blackheath golfers. This is Henry Callender. It may look familiar to you because it's similar in style to the other print that I have of Abbott, which is the famous Royal Blackheath golfer. That piece dates to about 1870, 1880, thereabouts. I would guess that this is probably a similar vintage just based on the look of it and the paper, but it's a print, and I haven't compared the sizes. I think they're probably pretty close in size as well. But I think that's going to be a pretty cool focal point with the Blackheath golfer, to have kind of my feathery and pre-1850 memorabilia set up. So that's that part of that museum. That was a cool piece to pick up. I also picked up a cool print of all the competitors in the 1895 Open Championship at St. Andrews. And that's a very cool piece. You know, it was a really well done picture. I believe it was actually maybe even a photograph, if I remember right. But this is a colorized print of what looks to be a photograph. And so the details are very clear. You can kind of identify just by looking at their face who's who. And excited to have that piece. It's a larger piece, so that's going to be kind of a focal point of what I'm calling the Gutty Golf section of my museum because of its 1895 reference. And then the other piece that I thought was pretty cool that caught my eye was this portrait of Freddie Tate. Freddie Tate was a very well-known and popular amateur golfer pre-1900 based out of St. Andrews, and left in the prime of his career basically to fight in the Second Boer War. I think that's how you say that. If not, I apologize. But he was a member of the famous Scottish Black Watch regiment and died in combat. So a great golfer, cut down in his prime, and was memorialized almost pretty much immediately upon word of his death. And just kind of a sad story in early golf history, or not as early as it was in the UK, but turn of the century golf history of a player who would have gone on to do really great things and had already accomplished some great things up to that point, cut down in his prime. And for whatever reason, I've just kind of, his story has resonated with me. I've come across some Freddie Tate memorabilia that I've collected, and that piece is going to be the focal point of a small area of my museum, kind of memorializing him. So those are the three pieces that I picked up from the auction. Willie Gayle also did some really great restoration work on golf clubs. He was trained by Bob Kuntz, who is a co-founder of the Golf Collectors Society, now Golf Heritage Society. And Bob Kuntz actually wrote this book right here, Antique Golf Clubs, which I use for my own restoration work. So Willie worked with Bob directly. And what I'm going to show you in the next part of this video is me walking around the popular room trading that happens at a GHS show in the convention hotel. And I went to Gary Wyckoff's room and saw some more of Willie Gayle's collection, including some of the MacGregor woods that Willie refinished and restored himself. And it's beautiful work that I want to show you. So that'll be the next part of this video, is me walking around the convention hotel rooms, showing you just how the room trading goes. You'll also see me go into Bryant Murphy's room, whom I've talked about on the channel before. He's a collector in Illinois who has a really great antique booth in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. But I went to his room, and you can kind of see some of the negotiating that happens when a collector like me sees a piece, and the seller kind of latches on to the interest and the little back and forth that happens there. So you'll see that, and then you'll also see after that just me walking around the trade show floor and showing you the lay of the land at the show itself. Yeah, the other two things that I want to show you real quick before I stop rambling here is two pieces that I picked up from Bruce Marquardt. I've talked about Bruce in the past on this channel. He's the fabricator of the really cool wooden santee molds that I use for my feathery and gutty rounds, and he's still making those, and you're going to see more of those in the trade show segment of this video. But Bruce is also an artist, like a fine artist, and has done some paintings of golf clubs and memorabilia that he brought with him. And so two pieces that I picked up from Bruce that I'm excited about. One is over my left shoulder here on the wall. It's that BGI Woodburn. He made that himself based on a BGI ad. And he's only made 4 of them, and so now I think all 4 of them have been basically given to or sold to collectors of BGI clubs, of which I'm, sort of a BGI collector. Not as much as Jacob Orcutt, co-founder of the Connecticut Hickory Golfers in Wisconsin. I'm sorry, in Connecticut. But I've sort of gravitated to collecting some specific BGI clubs just to kind of remember my brief experience in Connecticut. Anyhow, that was cool. I'm excited to have that in my shop. And then the other piece that I picked up from Bruce is over on the other side of the studio, but you're seeing that right now as I speak. And that is a very nice pencil drawing with really good shading, in my opinion, of a Wright and Ditson vintage golf ball sleeve with balls in it. So yeah, it's just to say that, we're not just, some of us don't just mess around with golf clubs. Bruce is an accomplished woodworker and also fine artist, and I'm excited to talk about these guys and the breadth and the depth of their ability through the channel, because they're just really interesting people. And that'll be kind of the capper before we get into me walking around the show, is to say that going to the Golf Heritage Society shows is cool to see all of the memorabilia and the things like that. But just like when you play Hickory golf, the real takeaway from these events and from these activities are the people that you meet through them and the friendships that you make. And Bruce is a friend now through the GHS. And I just can't say enough about how much fun it is to go to these events, especially after you've already been to one, and people remember who you are and you pick up where you left off, and it's just a very comfortable, enjoyable time. I traditionally am not an outgoing person, but when I find something I'm passionate about, I kind of blossom, I guess. And the GHS has allowed me to do that through the collecting side, and the Society of Hickory Golfers has helped me do that through the playing side. So I just want to, again, emphasize that if you're not a member of the GHS, consider that. And at the very least, if there's a GHS show that's within driving distance or nearby, check it out, because I think you're going to get hooked by one visit. And even if you don't collect the memorabilia that you see around you, just talking to the people that do collect that memorabilia is going to be an education for you in golf history that you're going to appreciate. So that's enough of me rambling on. Let's get into the footage of me walking around the GHS National Convention. We're going to start with the room trading, and then we'll go to the trade show floor and show you how that went. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you next time. Yeah, so when did they make these? This would have to be like toward the end of the Hickory era.
Would have been the same time as the Duralights, which would have been probably 1928 to 31, maybe 32.
Okay. That's really interesting. Do you have any idea why they thought this was going to be an interesting idea or worth doing?
Not really. The only thing, well, Andy Crew, he stayed with me last night. Mm-hmm. He said, what they could have been was there were people who were old woodshaft people and wanted woodshaft clubs,
yeah,
but they wanted it to look like the newer steel covered,
Yeah, so it's kind of like like what Pyrotone was going to be for people that look like wood grain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that could be.
Huh.
But
yeah, no, I have never seen those before. That's interesting. I didn't even check to see what the weight felt like on these, if they were. Yeah.
It's probably pretty good, because like I say, they are, it's the same club head as the Duralights. And,
yeah.
That's. But,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, those came out of Willie's estate.
Okay.
And yes, if you see anything, Betty, I will give you a heck of a price, because I am just.
Yeah, you got a lot to move.
I have a sign that I'm going to put up that I'm tired of having 5 or 6 tables. I want to have 2 tables.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly right now looking for 1900 or earlier gutty, playable gutty clubs.
Oh, the smooth face.
Yeah, smooth face and transitional splice necks. Because that's kind of that's the style of Hickory golf, and I'm enjoying the most these days playing.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that one, in fact, the 2 that you just looked at,
yeah,
those came from Willie's.
Okay.
And I sold those to him probably 25 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So,
Wow, this is really good condition.
yeah.
That had to have been reconditioned.
Yeah, those what I was going to do is I put those in with the claymores. I got to find me a driver though. There's a brassy and a spoon.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I actually have this club, but not nearly in as nice of shape as this one.
yeah. Well, Willie learned to redo clubs from Bob Kuntz.
Okay.
Willie was from Dayton, and Kuntz kind of took him under his wing, and he did a pretty nice job.
Yeah. No, they look. So Willie did these himself?
I'm sorry.
Did Willie do these himself?
I believe so.
Wow, that is really good.
Yeah, and well, these don't have, but he was able to put a really nice looking grip on his clubs, and look, period correct. Look more like the suede.
Yeah, right.
The brushed suede.
I've always liked these.
That is a Manfred Schotten.
Right.
Manfred is a member of the GCS.
Yeah, he's in. Is he in Germany?
No, he's originally from Germany, and
I see his stuff on Facebook, like his posts.
He lives in England now, and he's had some fantastic wood and metal things. He makes he made.
So he made this. Yeah, that's cool.
He made that, and oh golly, he has really a couple of different ones of these, and then he made like a pull cart.
Yeah.
That looks like it's like 1930.
Okay.
In fact, he makes a couple of those, and it's just.
He did a
amazing.
really good job making this look completely vintage.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, except for that, you wouldn't know necessarily that this is a more contemporary piece.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the earlier ones would have had brass feet on it.
Oh, okay.
They had like a brass cup, and just to keep the wood from absorbing.
Sure. Yeah,
water.
right.
But
That's very cool.
yeah.
I had to go borrow my mom's, it says 3 on here.
That's fine.
I had to borrow my mom's basement, and then from here on, whenever I get anything, I gotta sneak in.
Those are 881.
Are they dollars?
They're all golfer, and they're just kind of a drive bag type thing. You don't know what 6 cards are in there.
Guarantee a Nicholas rookie card in there.
Well, how much are those?
I've got a couple hundred of them, so
You got $3 on this one.
yeah.
And what, are you selling by the?
I'll do it anyway. If you're interested, we'll throw in a whole box full, we'll count them, or
I don't know if I can give you the whole box. I don't know. That'd be interesting though.
well, there's some right there in front of you too.
How much are they a
Oh.
piece?
About $1.
$1 a piece?
Oh,
They don't have bubble gum in them, do they?
No, they're just
Now,
those cards.
how many's in that box?
If we're close, we'll count them. Because I'm born to get rid of. Thank you.
Yeah, I got thousands of golf cards.
This one probably was never used, was it? So this one is really nothing but a walking stick. Think any of these were really.
You got pretzels too.
Next, come in, just remember, the more pretzels you take, the higher the price is.
How about this?
Wow. You have to spit it up now.
I tell you what, I can come back if you get finished with these gentlemen.
No, that's fine. We
Sure.
we can, yeah.
Okay. Well, just sit down and, you know.
Yeah, have a seat if you want.
Oh, is it gonna rain tonight?
Okay, here's what I
Certainly
was
looks like
asking for on these.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, this is a Linda Hartog.
Oh, yeah. I know who she is.
Beautiful print. What I love about this is not only is it the 11th green, but you got the 12th green in the background.
That's a cool picture.
Okay, this one I was asking $100 for that. This one is the 11th hole at St. Andrews. It's got a more elaborate, older frame. But Jeff Ellis was telling me about this. He said, this is a print, signed, right?
Yeah.
But he redid these, and he drew this by hand, this Arthur Weaver from England.
Oh.
So this is 18 out of 1,000, but this is his real signature.
Okay, right.
And Ellis said he's one of the best 20th century golf artists that are out there. So this is 11th green, high hole, coming home at St. Andrews. This I was looking at 200, 100 on that. And these two are interesting. This is the actual picture of the first Masters.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got a lot of the guys, you know, it's got marked where they're at and a little bit of explanation. And 75 for that. And that's a Hagen.
No, Saracen.
Or Saracen, I mean. 75 for that. Now, that's obviously a print, but this was taken in 1932 U.S. Open Championship. Now, it doesn't, he won it, but I don't know where, it doesn't say, you know, what course it's at.
Are you sure that's not an actual signature? That looks like his signature, like his actual printed or signed item.
And I'll work with, yeah, I don't know, that's what, so I was looking 75, 75, 100, 200, and I'll take 20% off on any of them. So it'll be 60, 60, 80, 160, 150.
I'm interested in the Saracen.
Okay. It's a nice photo. It's like acid etched or something. You can see.
Yeah, there's something different about that, but I like it.
Yeah,
I think it's cool.
and it's really a real sharp print. So 60 on that. And you know, this is neat, but it's the one thing it doesn't have is it's got the names on here, but it doesn't have like a catalog, all the names on the
Okay.
Masters.
Yeah, it's an actual autograph. Did you know this? You sure you want to sell that to me for 60? It's actually signed by Gene Saracen.
Huh.
It's not a facsimile or anything.
Well, I'll tell you what, make it 75 then, since you pointed that out. But I didn't know, I hadn't looked at that.
Well, I'm interested in that one. I don't have any cash right now until tomorrow.
Well, that's okay. One at the trade show.
Okay.
Square away. So.
But I'll think about that pretty hard because I think it's a cool picture.
It is. I mean,
I shouldn't have told you it's real, but I like you and I don't want to take advantage of you. But I was pretty confident that was a real signature. All right, folks, we are on the trading floor at the 51st annual meeting of the Golf Heritage Society. There is pretty much a little bit of everything here. I'm just going to scan around real quick, show you all the tables. We got a lot of room here, so we're spread out quite a bit.
Wayne, where are you going? Huh? You're gonna take this
We'll walk down this way. I'm going to show you some of these individual tables a little bit closer as we go here, but just want to give you an overview of, if you're not here, what you're missing. All right, we're going to take a closer look at some of the clubs we've got going on here. I haven't looked at any of these myself yet, so we're going to do this together. Here's a fun one I'd like to point out to people. This is the H&B Cork Grip. It's a cool grip, but it's usually too thin for my taste, but it does feel nice and soft. So, in my opinion, more of a collector club than a player, unless you find one that has a weight you like. But yeah, that's a cool club. Here's a cool one. Wouldn't recommend playing that one. It's got some woods going on here. There's some long-nosed putters. Can't quite read the name on that one. Yeah. Can't read the name on those, but those are cool. Let's walk around over here.
Good. She gave me some clubs that Andy gets used by and made me use how to do with it. So don't throw them.
It's pretty cool.
Dave's Saharius.
Wouldn't mind getting that Hogan Sports Illustrated. That's cool.
And then we have our own in-house, like, the collection is ruined. One, because we took private collection, and then over time,
It's a nice bag there. Fabric, kind of like canvas, but it's a good leather one too. $245. It's probably about right. I mean, like I said, you can pretty much, if you're looking for a specific club, odds are somebody here has it, either on their table or at home. I haven't looked for the clubs on my wish list quite yet, but I'll get out and about here pretty soon. I've been having a good morning so far selling clubs, so haven't really looked around too much yet. Here's Bryant Murphy's table. Tables. Bryant's got a nice selection of balls, so I've picked some up from him. Here's Bruce Marquardt's table. Bruce makes, and I'm going to show you those in a second, really nice handmade Santee molds from wood. And I use those in my gutty and feathery rounds. Bruce probably doesn't want to be on film, or on video, whatever. But I want to show you these in a second. So he's actually come up with a new design where the spring isn't exposed. So that works pretty well too. That's a nice plunger. And these are the original versions with the spring. So he sells these for $25 a piece, and I've got a few left actually from the batch that I bought from him earlier this year. So if you want to buy one, let me know. Let's actually show you how they work. So here you see, actually use one of the new ones. So here's one of the new ones. It's got wet sand here. You just kind of, oops, sorry, I'm not even showing you it. Okay, so you just kind of dig in. I like to kind of find something hard to rub it, push it against, and then you just plunge it down, and there you go. And you get a consistent Santee mold every time. So yeah, it's hard to find Santee molds, authentic ones, and when you do, they're expensive. So if you want to get into gutty and feathery, or if you just want to try Santee with your regular clubs, Santee molds are the way to go.
So he said, yeah, there's a great course that some like otters.
A lot of guys have trophies and medals.
I looked up, Albany, Indiana.
There's some cool ones here.
The Robert Trent Jones course.
I'll show you some of the clubs on the rack. This looks like an Urquhart. That's actually a Goodrich adjustable. I've wanted to get one of these if I can find one affordable. And you can adjust the loft, so you basically have all the clubs you need in one, and then you just kind of tighten it back here. It's pretty cool. He's got a few of them actually. Yeah, I mean, just look at all the different ways that they came up with to come up with a adjustable loft club, an all-in-one type club. Pretty cool. And just from a golf history perspective, you learn a lot about the game being at one of these shows. So even if you're not interested in collecting the memorabilia, but you love golf and you love history, just talking with the guys that are selling these clubs, you're going to learn a lot. That's cool. Old Maltby swing weight scale. Pyratones. Everybody's, a lot of folks got Pyratones here. They're collectible for some guys here, and I think they're going to be more collectible in years to come as Hickory's become a little less common, harder to find. 30 grand.